So that's called marination. You marinate sabak, and then when they go home, they memorize. And when they memorize, memorization, there are two types of memorization. One, like some of them, they memorize ayah by ayah. They read one ayah repeatedly until they get it. And the other way of memorizing it, you go by word. You pick a letter word by word. For example, Tabarakalladhi ja'ala fis samai burujan wa ja'ala fiha sirajan wa qamaran munira. If you keep repeating this ayat 15, 20 times, you get it. Okay? But this type of, like reading the whole ayah, when you memorize this way, it's a bit loose. If you memorize word by word, for example, like Tabarakalladhi biyadil mulk, Tabarakalladhi biyadil mulk, Tabarakalladhi biyadil mulk, you say it like about 20, 25 times until it comes to your tongue. And then you move on to the next one. Ja'ala fis samai, 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 ja'ala fis samai. Keep saying it. Tabarakalladhi ja'ala fis samai. Now after 25, 30 times, you go back and combine both. Tabarakalladhi ja'ala fis samai buruja, Tabarakalladhi ja'ala fis samai buruja, Tabarakalladhi ja'ala fis samai buruja together. Okay? That's how you move on. This one will stay longer. The first technique, if you do it, you get it sometime right away, but later on you will have problem. But if you memorize it this way, word by word, and then you combine together, this way inshallah it stays longer. And this basically stays longer means it comes to your mind, you can say, I memorized this portion. To retain it, then you have to apply another technique. That technique is called, like in Hifz class, what we do is, once you do the new lesson, you always have to go back 5 lessons. It's called 5 sabak, like 5 lessons back. For example, today is what? Saturday? Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. He had to say sabaks from Mondays. From Mondays, he has to say sabaks, 5 sabak, and then the new sabak. If you say new sabak, that will be altogether 6 sabak. 6 days. So, when you say new lesson, you always have to say with your 5 sabak. You start with 5 sabak. There are, like couple of benefits for that. Number one benefit, that you are reviewing 5 sabak, that means your new sabak being reviewed for 5 days. Right? Every time you're reviewing for 5 days. This way, sometimes if you miss, for example, like Fatha, Kasra, Dhamma here and there, like sometimes you memorize it wrong, but like you didn't catch it, your teacher didn't catch it, because sometimes very subtle, the way you pronounce it. When you go through 5 times, like every day you're saying it, you somehow will come up, like catch it. And the second major benefit of saying 5 sabak is, when you do your new sabak, and you have to say from all of your 5 sabak, the 2 techniques I just mentioned, right? Memorization of 2 techniques. If you memorize it good, if you memorize your 5 sabak, a new sabak good, it will stay longer. We call it, like I give it a name. One is, like the technique is called microwave technique. The other one is called baking in the oven. Okay? If you memorize it the way you bake, that will stay there. And if you say it from your 5 sabak through your 5 sabak, you go through. You have no problem. But if you just microwave it, how do you microwave it? For example, like if you have to say this page, say, okay, like you just go over a couple times quickly, and you get it, because you get a picture of it. And most of the time you're able to do it. Or what they do is, 2-3 times they do is they marinate here a little bit, and marinate after Fajr a little bit, and marinate before you come to class in a little bit. So that's how you get it. But everything is still loose. They have to look at it again before they say their sabak. that will not stay longer. That's the thing. If you memorize it by word, and then you come from 5 sabak, then we have sabak para. Sabak para is where your 5 sabak starts. From there you go back 10 pages. 10 pages back. If you are doing 1 page a day, these 10 pages means for 10 days, right? These 10 days and these 5 days, the 15 days sabak. That you are reviewing new lesson for 15 days, 15 times minimum. Imagine if you repeat something, like for 15 days, and this is already you have memorized it. It's not like something new. You already memorized it and you're reviewing for 15 days. And the rest of it, have to retain it again. If you just leave it, then you forget the back one. What do you do with this? Then you have to divide the portions. For example, like if you finish so far 5 juz. If you finish 5 juz, so what you do is now half a juz every day as a manzil. Half a day, half a juz. For example, from Alif Lam Mim, you start from there, half juz, next day, the next half, day after, second juz, first half, day after, second juz, last half. Like this, you continue. The method is, in the whole month, you're supposed to review the whole thing at least 3 times. Regardless of, how many para you have done. Maybe you have done 5 juz, maybe you have done 10 juz, maybe you have done 15 juz. According to the number of juz you have finished, your manzil goes up. If you have done 5 juz, how much you're supposed to say every day to cover 3 times a month? Roza mein hai, right? Achha, la ilaha illallah. They can't do math because they're fasting. That's good. I thought it worked faster. No clog, nothing. Gee. What is the calculation, Sultan Khan? Ji? 5 juz have to be repeated 3 times in a month. Half a juz. Over? Why over? Simple math. 5 juz, 3 times. 10 days, right? 15, we have 30 days in a month. La ilaha illallah. Life is too short. That's good. Looks like we have passed the half Ramadan, right? MashaAllah. How about if he had done 10 juz? 1 juz, yes. And someone had done 15 juz? 1.5, yes. 1.5 juz, every day has to say as manzil. That's how we go, like to retain it. That's that's the basic thing. To have like good memory or good manzil or good sabak para or good 5 sabak, everything. If you want to have good in the back, it's all depend how you did your new lesson. It all depends how you did your new lesson. For example, today's lesson, I'm not good, like I said, yeah, I'll make it pakka later on, something like that. You say, okay, just let go this time, I'll make it pakka next time. The next time will never come. Because that becomes your 5 sabak, that becomes your sabak para, that becomes your manzil, same thing. And it stays there like that. Everything depends on the new sabak. How good you do your new lesson. That's basically a foundation for your 5 sabak. That's the foundation for your sabak para later on. That's the same thing, it becomes foundation for your manzil. And the same thing becomes foundation for your tarawih as well. The Hufaz has a difficulty in Taraweeh sometimes, like some areas very difficult and some areas are okay. The reason is, the time they have did it, their sabak, they were not good at that time. They still suffer, they pay the price. They still pay the price. Otherwise, at that particular page or that particular area, you have to, read more times than the regular time you're reading for Taraweeh. For example, if you read the whole preparation, one juz for Taraweeh, it's like about 3 times. For example, like if you read 3 times, that area you have to read like 7, 8 times to make sure. In Taraweeh, basically you don't have a second choice. There's no second chance. You just have to keep going. When you are saying to someone, for example, to your teacher or to your, colleague or something, then they put you back if you have made a mistake. Say, what do you say? Go back, read it again, you try a couple times. Then you get it. But in Taraweeh, mashallah, everybody, snappers are there, right? The moment you can't even breathe longer. You take long breath, boom. So that's why it has to be very, this is basically we follow the method. Maybe other people, they follow a different method. This way, alhamdulillah, they stay longer. Like the hips when you well grounded. The one benefit we have seen for this, this, what do you call that, system if you follow. The other one, whoever follow, we have seen from other madaris, when we have our friends, both graduate, for example, like in 2010, for example, right? 10 years they have graduated for, 10, 15 years. And after 10, 15 years, you see the difference who graduated through this system and who graduated from the other system. How we found this difference? Because if these guys happen to, they do not lead Taraweeh right after, they're supposed to lead Taraweeh every year, right after you graduate. If these guys somehow they miss it for a couple of years, 2, 3 years, or somehow they were busy taking tests, this, exams, this and that, whatever reason would be, or sometimes some of them are sick, they cannot lead. Once you miss the chance, then the next year you get, low morale, say, okay, I'll see you next year. 2 years have gone by. Now, your third year comes, you get more, down. You say, oh no, it's very difficult now. So that's how you're, slipping away every year. Then you see the difference between these people who graduated from this system and the other system. From other system, you cannot come back. It is, I don't know. It becomes just like you have to rememorize it, the whole thing. But the person who has gone through this system, if he just put a little bit effort, he can come back. That's the difference we see. Because this foundation is very solid. That's what. Now, how many of you want to become Hafiz, inshallah? Let me do tashkil here. Good, alhamdulillah. Just, our job is just start, try, 1 ayah per week, per month, whatever it is. Just continue doing it, inshallah. So this way, on the Day of Judgment, at least we will be raised among the Huffaz with the intention and little bit effort. And it is a mu'jiza from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah made it easy to memorize. Otherwise, no one can memorize it. It's become very difficult. Recently I was reading the book. There are many books people have written. The subject is only where you get exit from this ayah, where you can jump onto. Crisscross, and basically wherever you have problems. Okay, from this word you can go to the surah in that ayah. From there you can jump here like this, crisscross. It's an amazing number. They counted, like they said, more than 16,000 places. You get confused. More than 16,000. Can you imagine that? This is amazing. This is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is the one who helps. This is the book of Allah. Allah promised that, will protected. And this is the way Allah protects, like put it in your heart, and you do little bit effort, and then Allah makes it, like settle. Otherwise, it's not easy. And many of the time, it depends, like how your day gone by, when you're leading Taraweeh, how was your day? Because, it depends. You can see the night. When Hafiz is reading, is he confident? Or is he loser? Is, like he's stopping a lot, or is he going back and forth, and something like that. You can tell how his day was. And sometimes, like everything is okay, and sometimes you come on the musalla, you are confident. But all of a sudden, unexpected place, you stop. Boop, what happened? Then Allah says, yeah, you're overconfident today. That's why. There's no control, basically. You do your effort, then leave it up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's all we can do. It's not like something Hafiz can say, oh, no way. Yeah, I'm the one. You can't say that. Because we have seen the Huffaz, mashallah, they can read the whole Quran in one night. Like there were, mashallah, they were pro. They were known for this. 2 nights are very common, but they were Huffaz, they finished the whole Quran in one night. MashaAllah. And we joined them, couple, basically, when you're young, you don't join them all the way. You just lay down and relax, as soon as they say Allahu Akbar and Ruku, you just jump on the train and, But MashaAllah, these people, they can finish the whole Quran because they are so good in memorization. When they read, they know exactly where they're reading and where they can make messed up here and there. They know everything. One of the Hafiz, like he finally, like one day he challenged it. He said, I can read the whole Quran without stopping anywhere. And he was like that, like he used to, and he did it, mashallah, but he was stuck in Surah Kafirun. Yeah, he was stuck in Surah Kafirun. Unbelievable. This is only Allah wants to show. You can do, but he was, like going over and over in Surah Kafirun. So, we cannot do it. No. There are, there were people like military, like military area, what do you call it? Cantonment, what? Huh? Cantonment, yeah. That was the area, they have the masjid there. So those people, there were army people around it. And they were known to be tough, and then, and the Hafiz Sahib, like he used to lead Taraweeh one night. That guy, he was a little bit old now, but because he knows how to stand, how to manage. So these people, the military people, they challenge him. That you cannot stand what we are, like we can stand behind you in Taraweeh. He said, no, don't challenge me. You cannot stand behind me. He said, no, we will, because we are trained for that. He said, okay, let's just start. He started Taraweeh, and he kept going because, like this is challenge, he kept going. And the people, one after the other, one fall, the other one fall, the third one fall. When he finished the 2 rakats, he has seen nobody is there, except Bichara Muazzin, like one guy is sitting down. These people have gone already, just left masjid. And he did, like in the first rakat, he did the 14th para. He finished 14 juz. And then he said, Assalamu Alaikum, nobody was there. It's because remember, the person who is reading, his mind is busy, right? His focus is not, I'm standing, taking too long, this and that. His focus is somewhere else. If you focus somewhere else, then you can continue. But you have nothing else to do, just standing. To even one rakah, like more than one page, it's so difficult for you. You are just focuses, man, when he's going to make ruku, when he's going to make ruku, when he's going to make ruku. See? You become tired automatically. Ya Allah. Ji. Hmm. The question is, if you have repeated ayats in a surah, for example, like Surah Rahman or Surah Mursalat, like has repeated ayat, وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ and فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. What is the logic? Is there any trick to remember how to, this is also one of the area that every Hafiz has their own way of having some, make some kind of mark. Okay, yeah, this is first, this is second, this is third. And basically, when it comes to these type of things, the only thing it can help you, repetition. Repetition. Like I said, if you are repeating the whole juz 3 times, this area has to be 10, 15 times. And you review it, and review it. After that, you review it, you close the Quran, then you review it in your mind. Okay, then you look into, did I miss anything? Oh, I didn't miss it. Okay, then you review one more time to make sure, yes, I did it. Then you move on to next page. Not the whole surah, you do it at once. So that's how they, go over. And then, like I said, if you leave it after that, it's going to go run away from your memory. That's what happened. That's what thing. That's why if you are in the system and you follow the system, that's basically. And after they graduate, the minimum they have to do is basically, recommended is 1 manzil. 1 manzil means it's about 5.5 paras, altogether. You have to finish the whole Quran in 1 week. That's recommended. Otherwise, if you can't do this, the minimum is 3 juz. 3 juz per day, after you finish the hifz. So 3 juz means, again same rule, 3 times a month. Ji.
For a person standing behind the imam, so say you're deep in the Quran and obviously the person's not a hafiz, but it's about not losing focus. If say for example, you were reading and something about Sulaiman and Islam comes, is it okay for the person standing behind to start thinking about what took place during about what you're reading? Kind of like say for example if we're talking about Sulaiman and Islam and the authority that he was giving and is it okay to think about these things while the imam is reciting, or are you trying to focus on the words, which is kind of difficult to do?
If you can focus, he's asking, is okay to focus behind the imam, you are just standing. Imam is reading something, some story, for example, like Sulaiman Islam's story. And if you concentrate on the story, is it okay, or should concentrate on the words? That's what he's asking. I said, congratulations if you can even focus that much, mashallah. It's good. Nowadays, we don't even know what's going on, we're busy with our own, the chat you sent right before Salah. You're thinking about that, what he said, right because of that, right after you finish 2 rakat, you say, take up the phone and say, is there any message? Like someone said, very beautifully, he said, we check our phones right after Salah as if the message has to come. Yeah, your Salah was accepted. So focus is not there. If you focus that's good. You are okay to focus, on the meaning or the words, whatever. As long as you can keep your focus, in Salah. And the other thing is, like you said, how to manage this. Right. You can do with a page by page, And then keep adding it. Laate ro beech mein. I know it's not that easy to laate ro beech mein. There are like 2 or 3 times. There are 2 3 times, come 2 ayats. You can do that technique too. I'm not denying it, but depends. Okay, but how confident? Yeah. And the other thing is, again, still you get confused. Because almost, ومن क्या ومن دونهما جنتان हाँ वो नहीं فيهما عينان فيهما عينان تجريان فيهما عينان نضاختان. See, فيهما عينان فيهما عينان, exactly same. Now the Hafiz will say, man, if you're not Hafiz has his own technique to remember. The easiest way for me is, I go by huruf taji. Ta comes first, noon comes later. Fihima ainani, tajriyan first. Fihima ainani, nadda khatan later. Simple. And there are many other techniques we use. And you start from here, like yasaluhu man fis samawati wal ard, right? Then after that it comes sanafrugu lakum ayyuthaqalan, and after that ya ma'sharal. Okay. From ya ma'sharal jinn, the next one is yursalu. 2 years together. And then faidan shaqqatis sama. This fa, and the next one also is fa. That's what I'm saying. No, faidan shaqqatis sama, then fayawmaidil. 2 fas together, 2 years together, and then ya comes again. That's how you have to make so many, like combinations to remember. And many of the time we take advantage of meaning as well. If you know the meaning, then you take advantage. Oh, that has already gone, now it should be this one. Like this. It is difficult, no doubt, only unless, like Allah makes it easy. That's what it is. Anytime, yeah. Any surah, like for example, Wal-Layli has more confusion than Wash-Shamsi. Yeah. It's and we have like other ways of going through with these type of things. For example, like Summum Bukun Humyun La Yaqilun. Like let me give you one example. We go by sometime with the surah, we go by sometime with the para, the juz. Okay, this ayah is in this para. Okay, this ayah is in that para, for example. Like La Yasma'un and La Yaqilun. There are 2 words. Come, like the ayah is same, but the only difference comes La Yasma'un and La Yaqilun. The La Yaqilun, it's in Sayaqul. We say Qaf, Qaf. The connection we make is Qaf here, Sayaqulu, La Yaqilun. And La Yasma'un, Ain, this comes in Waida Sami'u, the Ain. See, this, if you have this, when you come to this area, you don't even have to think twice. You already know you're reading Sayaqul, La Yaqilun, like this. You have to have so many connections, that's what I'm saying. And sometimes you have to use the same technique by saying, okay, this is not the, what do you call that? Huruf-e-taji ki kya bolenge? Yeah, the backward analogy. Like suppose ta supposed to come first, noon supposed to come later, right? Here is the other way. Noon first and ta later. For example, like, in Surah Kahf, वो क्या है? अवला मर्रा वो जो आयत है ना उसे पढ़ो. Who first can't read backward, like they can read onward, but you can't go backward. ويوم نسير الجبال وترى الأرض بارزة وحشرناهم فلم نغادر منهم أحدا وعرضوا على ربك صفا لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم أول. Then after that, بل زعمتم, right? The exact same ayah comes in Surah An'am. أول مرة وتركتم ما خولناكم. After أول مرة وتركتم ما خولناكم. The وَتَرَكْتُمْ مَا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ is in the 7th para. And أَوَّلَ مَرَّ بَلْ زَعَمْتُمْ is in the 15th para. Right? Is ba supposed to come in 7th para. But we remember, okay, bhai, this is a flip. This is the flip. So that's how when we, otherwise if you're thinking, hey, this is balzahamtum or wataraktum, by that time snapper is there, dim. It's too late. So there are so many combinations, there's so many combinations, there's so many things. Hafiz just has to focus sometime, like page by page. Even in one page, you have like sometime 8 to 10 areas, 8 to 10 ayats. Okay, but you can go from here to there, from here to there, like lahwan wa la'iba, la'iban wa lahwa, like there's back and forth. There are many places you see lahwan wa la'iba, and there are places you see la'iban wa lahwa. Flip. And faman adlamu, waman adlamu. There are many places. And this one, there are ayat, there are these type of mutashabiyat, no, like methodology works there. It's only depend how is your day. فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا وَمِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبًا, like that. كَذِبًا أَوْ كَذَّبًا. There are so many variations in this type of ayat. فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ. And the end of the ayat is another whole world. Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir wallahu ghafurur rahim. Inna Allah bi kulli shayin alim bima ta'maluna khabir wa basir. This is completely different world. And sometimes we have problem, like beginning of the page. You're thinking, this is a page start from here, and you are miscalculated yourself. Oh, I thought that page is starting, but you missed 2 pages here. If someone corrects you, you don't read it because you know you are reading it right. But you are skipping the page by thinking, I'm right. It sometimes becomes very difficult, like.
How does that work during prayer? For example, you're reciting and you skip, and then the other person tells you that you corrected, you go back to that part, and then do you read during that? Or do you do that correction, that whole correction?
See, that's in Taraweeh, if you miss an ayah or if you portion, like how you correct it. Basically what happens is, it is 98 times of the time, like 98% I would say, when you miss an ayah or you jump somewhere, Hafiz knew right away. There's a different story if he get it the right one or not. But he knew he had, like he has gone somewhere and he had made a mistake or he skipped something. Even sometimes, like instead of wa, and if you said fa, or instead of fa, if you say wa, he knew it. Because, like, just like our body, how does it work? Antibody, what do you call that? You take the vaccine. What does vaccine does? Recognize, like the foreign body. That's how it is. In the system, it's wa there, and if you read fa, this is foreign body. Like you can tell right away, but sometimes you're not too sure. That's why you just say, okay, I'm gone. Because if I think of again, you'll get stuck. So, the question was, like if you miss it, and if you realize it, or your Sama is here to correct you, if he tells you, you skip that ayah, in the next rakat, wherever you start the new one, you read that ayah and then you continue wherever you are reading from. Because in Nawafil you have, like gunjaish to do this. It's basically the question is about tahajjud. Like should we do longer salah, like longer qiyam basically? That's what you are asking, or the more rakats?
More like focus on surah, like picking surah. Like if a person knows surah Yasin,
Mm-hmm.
if a person knows surah Rahman a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
he can do like long ibadah, or he
So,
can do like skip,
right.
do the short way.
Basically, in tahajjud, when it comes to nawafil, especially in tahajjud, longer qiyams are required, like more desirable. If you know longer surahs, you should stand in salah and keep reading. Even some ulama, they mention, if you don't know the longer surahs, if you know shorter surahs, smaller surahs, repeat those surahs. This way, the qiyam has to be longer. That's what is required. You can. You can combine and you can repeat the same surahs. For example, like if you know last 10 surahs, start from Alam Tara Kaifa Fa'ala all the way to Nas, then come back again from Alam Tara, then you can. It depends how much time you have.
Is there any specific time like you have like further starting reading like 15 minutes?
Mhm.
Is that person tahajjud counted same as the person who is waking at 3:30 a.m. Like,
You see that in terms of reward, everything will be same. The reward goes according to your difficulty, the difficulty you have. For example, like 3:30 is very difficult to wake up and take wudu and then like pray. It's very difficult. And close to Fajr Salah, maybe a little bit easier as compared to 3:30, right? The more difficulty you have, the more reward. Simple. Yes, last portion of the night is always preferable because Prophet ﷺ has mentioned it, and that's how Prophet ﷺ normally used to do it. It's because, this way it won't be too difficult for people to wake up and to pray, and then they have to go back to sleep. Then you have to wake up for Fajr, right? That will become very difficult. That's how the Sayyidina Dawud alayhi salam used to do. He used to go to sleep right after Isha, and then he wakes up after 2 hours or so, then he prays for an hour, then he goes to sleep again, and then he wakes up again. That's how he used to be. It is very difficult. For us, the closer Fajr, that will be easier, inshallah. Ji. The memorization of the Quran is completely up to the individual, or most of the time we go from last juz because there are smaller surahs. Most of the time we are familiar those surahs, maybe listening, hearing it here and there. That's why we are used to of it. So easy to memorize, and not only that, when you memorize these surahs, it is easy for you for other salahs. Like you recite this surah from here and there. And if you start from Baqarah directly, it will be a little bit difficult to manage it. So that's why what we do is here, we go 5 juz from back. 5 juz. Start from 30th. 30th, 29, 28, like this. Then we start on 26, start from Alif Lam Mim. And some of them, they continue like this. Say 25, 24, like this. Ji.
What is preferable? Like we are in itikaf and we would like to pray tahajjud usually by ourselves, but if there's a Jamaat doing here, like a Jamaat for the tahajjud prayer, so is it better to join the Jamaat or should we still try to pray individually?
There's a very political, controversial question here, and the question, should I repeat? No. The people are here in Itikaf, they want to do their individual ibadah, but there is a collective ibadah going on in the masjid. Should we join or should we perform our own ibadah? That's basically the gist of it. I can ask Uncle Jamir Bhai. Let's see what he... There you go. La ilaha illallah. Even though he's not showing his face, but he's saying it. It's like always, avoid controversy. That's the best thing. That's first thing you have to have that in mind. Even though you don't like, maybe it's a little bit discomfort for you, but if something going on collectively, if you join, that's always better.
Do we still get the double reward since we made the intention that we want to do individual ibadah, like
that ibadah. Yes, very good, like if you have like this thinking, but there are people like think like him as well. So why you forcing me? I want to do my own ibadah, right? There are different type of people here. So Allah Ta'ala made it everybody different. So that's why it become very difficult, people like him. Okay, but why you forcing me? I don't want to pray that long. I want to pray a little bit, but I want to focus more on dua instead of standing in salah, and I don't even know what you're reading. When I read only those portions that I know the meaning of it as well. It depends, like everybody have to focus, we want to focus. There you go. So now Magar, like being Desi, we are different breed, right? Our breed is different. We look for trouble. So, inshallah.
We can mix surah. Do we have to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim since we are jumping?
Right. You should say Bismillah, otherwise it's up to you. Your choice. You can say Bismillah between two surahs. You don't say, it's up to you.
What is the significance of Jummah Fajr prayer that we pray? Alif Lam Mim,
Prophet ﷺ, that's how he used to pray. This is Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ used to pray in first rakat Alif Lam Mim Sajda, second rakat Surah Insan. Basically, like if you know the meaning, it reminds you. That's what is Akhirah about this and that. And Surah Insan about the whole thing is about Jannah. Majority portion is talking about the people. Ay, sharab, ay. Oh, dekh rahe hain. Ginger ale bhi hai usme, zanjabil hai.
What's the minimum we're allowed to read, say, for doing water or something? What's the minimum number of ayahs we're allowed to read to count as something, or even if we're doing Farhan by ourselves? Can I only read 3 ayahs, or is it 1 ayah, 2 ayahs?
Basically, like the rule is minimum 3 small ayats or 1 long ayat. Long ayat means, more than 1 line can consider 1 long ayat. Ayat al-Kursi is about 4 or 5 lines. So if you have ayah, it's more than 1 line. Because Surah Kawthar is how much? 1 line. 3 ayats, 1 line. So, like you can measure it this way, inshallah. Simple. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.